I think it was looking for different ways to have long-term investments. Started listening to podcasts several years ago and just kind of fell in love with the multifamily space and those that were teaching. And so it just was something that I think, man, I really want to get into this. And I, like I've done in the past with anything else, music and audio, just dove straight in, just wanted to learn everything I could through podcasts and education. So that's kind of brought me to this point of just pursuing it with everything I've got.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Our guest today comes from an industry I don't think we've had on the show before that's coming to real estate now. But from rock guitar to real estate, Brent Barcus is our guest today. And in his creativity, work ethic, keen eye for opportunity are the winning ingredients that continue to bring him great success. When he relocated to Nashville right out of high school, his determination quickly found him sharing the stage with many global artists such as Elton John and Kenny Loggins. I told him I wasn't familiar with Kenny Loggins, but I'm going to look him up because he used to play for him and sing with him as well. Well, Brent now is, in the syndication space. He's doing deals. He's making things happen. He's going to share some of those tips and things, how he's done that, how he's doing that, and a path forward, how he's growing and lessons learned as well. A lot around like the first capital raise. So you're going to learn a lot, and you probably have questions if you're trying to do that yourself of, hey, how do I do that? Or I've got some fear. Listen to this show. From rock guitar to real estate. I don't know if I've ever got to say that before on the show, by the way, but that's pretty cool. I love hearing that. Brent, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. Great to meet you and to share with the listeners today some tips that, from you as well. And so let's jump right in, Brent. You from rock guitar to real estate, that probably piques some people's interest, right? I love guitar and music. I love music as well. I'm a drummer though, so
awesome.
Don't hold that against me, right?
There's some drummer jokes I have, but I'll leave them.
No. Well, Brent, let's hear a little bit about why. Like, why real estate? Obviously you're big into music, audio. Why the transition to real estate? And let's talk about that path a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, let's see. I've been in music all my life, as a kid. I grew up in the 80s and in the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri. And, my parents were always, my dad, I'm a second generation real estate investor. My dad was a broker and a developer investor in St. Louis in the Midwest. And so it was kind of like real estate was always just kind of in my blood from just watching him growing up. So I always respected that. But music was just something that I gravitated to in middle school. Guitar my brother's 6 years older. He's a drummer. So we have that in common, two drummers. And so my parents were amazing. They let, my brother have a full drum set in his bedroom and just, play as much as he wanted. So it was a very loud house. So there was a lot of creativity. And he was in a high school band. I gravitated to guitar. And so I'd sit on the edge of my bed and play. My mom would be faithful to take me to private lessons. And I did that all through high school. And then for some crazy reason, I thought I'm going to give music a shot as a career and moved to Nashville straight out of high school to study music here in Nashville. So that's kind of how I got to Nashville at 19 and just found myself in a dorm full of great musicians. I was at that point, you're in a bigger pond and felt a little overwhelmed. So I had to step up my game and practice and network and meet people and meet other players. And it just kind of snowballed from there from school and got into playing on. I wanted to be a session player. I studied all the great session players in the 80s, and so kind of figured out how to perform and wanted to work for different artists. So that's kind of where I ended up in Nashville and auditioning and getting jobs here, and it snowballed.
Wow, no, that's incredible. So why real estate now? I know you talked about your dad, being a broker, and that's a great background to have, but what about, why real estate now? Or what is it about?
Yeah. So it's been a theme throughout this whole, my music career and audio. My wife and my wife's a realtor actually, and we just always loved, for a while, it was single family. We would do, whether I was on the road or we lived in LA for a while, we would always buy single family, fix them up, flip them or live in them for a while, 2 years, and then sell them and move on. And we've done some short term. So it's always been a creative outlet for us. We've loved that, fixing things up, improving the value and moving on and doing other things. But it wasn't so it's always been in my life. But I think, as I getting older and now I have kids, I think it was looking for different ways to have long-term investments. Started listening to podcasts several years ago and just kind of fell in love with the multifamily space and those that were teaching. And so it just was something that I think, man, I really want to get into this. And I, like I've done in the past with anything else, music and audio, just dove straight in, just wanted to learn everything I could through podcasts and education. So that's kind of brought me to this point of just pursuing it with everything I've got.
Yeah, that is awesome. You are now, jumping into syndication and, larger assets, really quickly. Speak to the transition to being able to, how you did that to partner on some large deals or jump into some large deals from a really totally different career, right? And at the same time even, but speak to that transition and how I don't know, how you educated yourself and some of the steps taken.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it, there's so much collaboration that goes on in the creative space as well, recording music, writing music, producing music, mixing, all this. There's such collaboration. So it's kind of a natural thing for me in the studio. So, that's a comfortable space for me. So I've just figured, hey, the way to scale the learning side of this would be obviously podcasts. That's a solo thing more, but would be obviously going to as many events as I could. And that's kind of where I started was I wanted to meet GPs, LPs, excellent sponsors. How am I going to do that? Was just to just take my extra time, not in the studio, and to go to events, just start networking and meeting people. I knew I still do have a lot to learn, but that was a way that I knew I could scale the education side, was just to get around those that are excellent at what they do, great at their craft, and start to learn from them, and hopefully then find ways to provide value to them and bring, whether it's bringing capital or other value add things that I can bring to deals to hope, to GP more. So that's kind of my goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, it's all, I was thinking about that when you were talking about the music part of it, way back, right? You talked about, all of a sudden you surrounded yourself with all these people that, is a bigger pond, right? And they were really good. And you said, hey, I had to step up my game. And so that's why we have to continue to do that, right? We have to continue to find those rooms or groups of people who are kind of where we want to be, but the next level up, right? And we finally kind of get there, and then we got to find that next one, right? And keep finding that. It sounds like you did that in music, and obviously now you're applying that to the real estate business as well. Talk about going out for your say your first capital raise, and how you help that to be successful. Maybe some steps taken, or did you go friends and family? Was it did you already have a network of high net worth individuals that were like ready to invest with you, or what did that look like?
Yeah, really, really interesting, because I'd never obviously done a capital raise before. So at first it was like, okay, how am I going to approach this? I found a deal that I could get into that I loved. I did the underwriting, and obviously there were already some lead sponsors that were inviting me in, which was great. But I knew that, okay, how am I going to get from this A to a new, and share this with other people? I think would be a great opportunity for others passively, So it was a friends and family thing at this point, just because that's the network of people that I have built the relationship strictly from, a trust worth on the financial side of bringing somebody into a real estate deal when I don't have that background as much to them on a multifamily side. So, but the trust was there, to share this asset and invite them in and see if they were interested. So far that has been the case, but I feel like, and we all have these backgrounds in other careers. We've come from other spaces. That's been my goal now, is to, as I expand that network, I can hopefully, as I grow in these assets and bringing assets to passive investors, I think it's and building that track record. It's going more to high net worth, investors in my space of sports and entertainment is kind of where my relationships are mostly. So that's kind of the way I think for me to scale on that side. But at this point, it's been mainly friends and family.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good though when you're kind of in a niche, right? I don't know of too many people who are in music, right, that are in our business as well, right? Many come from all kinds of similar paths, but you're kind of in a niche, almost in your own blue ocean there, of people, right? In that industry that I don't know how, probably not very exposed.
No, yeah. And I think it takes time, obviously, because those relationships have been, they feel safe with me from the creative standpoint. We've worked together, we're clients, but now just that comfort level of, hey, I really believe in this asset class. I know that this can benefit so many others in this space. So now, approaching those people with that confidence that we have with each other creatively now, just like, how do we open those doors for, these asset classes so they can bring capital into the deals as well. So that's the long game, I guess,
Yeah. For sure. Speak to some maybe lessons learned on the first deal, or maybe there were investor questions that you had to go figure something out and learn from, or research, or I don't know.
a lot of things like, well, I've got money tied up in IRA and just learning about the self-directed process. That was a hurdle. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know you could pull money out of an IRA and self-direct. So that was eye-opening, which I love that. So it's amazing. There's always more education, like we talked about. I feel like I'm growing so much in these different areas of answering these questions, even just down to the webinar and how to approach that and opening up these assets and kind of running a webinar. That was a whole new thing for me too. Not running. I mean, there were other GPs, but still just being a part of that process and inviting friends and family into this webinar. Like, wait, you're doing what? You're real estate. What's this? So
yeah,
that's been interesting too. And just and that confidence of, hey, again, the team side. I'm bringing this. I'm hoping I'm trying to include others into this. This is something I'm learning. It's a process. Maybe I'm a few steps farther along, but we're all learning, and it's an opportunity to find out about these deals. So,
was there a big shock factor? As far as like you just said it, I talk to people ask me about this all the time, but like, wait a minute, Brent, you're in real estate now, type of thing from your family, friends. How did you navigate that?
A little bit. I think it's been slowly, like, it's more of a social, whether we're at a hockey game or a social event, just starting to share about, hey, this is what I'm learning. It's like slowly feeding information. It's not like setting an appointment and gushing all this out at one time, and overwhelming somebody. It's more like, hey, did you know hey, I noticed you were in Dallas over the weekend for an event. What are you doing? Why are you at a real estate conference? And then slowly with social media as well, all my group of, obviously most of the stuff I've posted in the years has been projects I'm working on with a network or a record label or something, but slowly kind of adding real estate into my social media, and slowly kind of sharing other skills and other things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Speak to now your process of like, or reaching out to find more investors and networking them. What is it? Networking with them and adding value to them. What does that look like?
I'm doing a lot of meetups, local meetups. I'm even going to events that really aren't real estate focused. They might be, wealth events or other things in the sports and entertainment industry, and just sharing kind of what I'm doing. So it's kind of really just a grassroots thing locally right now, and then some on social media as well. But a lot of it's just showing up and doing events, other things that are outside of the real estate space.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a learning process, to say the least. Right. But on that note, how did you find a mentor? Did you find a mentor? Like, what did that process look like as well for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I believe in it for sure. I have not really locked into one. I tend to find that at this point, a lot of it's been events and going. I feel like I'm getting so much from, people like you, obviously, other mentors that are doing podcasts and obviously doing on-site events, and just going and getting almost like grabbing the best of, what kind of seems to fit or what I'm looking for from all these different mentors. So I haven't really locked in on one, but I just love getting all this information from those who have gone before me,
Yeah, for sure. What was the most challenging part of the first deal?
Oh gosh, I think just earning trust and providing, some sort of value, and I think the relationship building of just, you got to show up, like these events, different things, get to know people, and then follow-ups with people. Hey, I'd love to get involved. Let me know how I can be of value. If you need anything, or if I could be boots on the ground here in Nashville. A lot of people are, obviously deal flow is pretty strong in Nashville. If you need anything in Nashville, I'd love to help out. So a lot of it's just constantly like reaching out. People I've met at these events saying, hey, I'm here. I'm in Nashville. Love to partner with you on deals. Just let me know how I can help.
What's a way that you've recently improved your business that we could apply to ours as well? It could be a system, software, or a way to do anything.
Just doing portal, just getting my portal up to speed. I think that's been huge. So I think having systems in place, CRM, Pipedrive. I'm using Pipedrive and Active Campaign, getting ready to start a newsletter. So just kind of getting all those kind of the foundation of my systems in place to kind of maybe start doing some automation with a newsletter and building my list of leads. So just starting there, grassroots.
Yeah, awesome. What do you see as your best source for meeting new investors?
I think for me, I still think it's events, local events, just being in the same room and just starting those conversations and dialoguing, especially on the co-GP side, getting to find out what people are doing, what markets they're in, where they want to be, and just trying to build those relationships to partner.
Or what are the most important metrics that you track? Could be personally or professionally, or maybe one of both.
Oh gosh, metrics. I would say, well, obviously have goals. I have tried to make aggressive goals. This year, one of my goals is to be in 2 to 3 more deals as a co-GP, to be in GP deals. Then let's see what else. Gosh, I have so many life goals. I'm not sure what else. That's on the real estate side. And I think, and another goal right now is just, since I'm just trying to build my network and build relationships, it's to be at one live event every month. So one large live event every month I'm going to. So
Nice.
just came from Dallas, and going back to Dallas in April for the an underwriting event, just to keep my skills sharp on underwriting. That's Mark and Tamil, Think Multifamily. They do an underwriting event, which is wonderful.
Yeah, is that the one that's called Fire or something Fire?
There's Fire Summit in the fall. I went to that, but this one is the deal analysis workshop.
Okay, deal analysis workshop. No, I've known Mark a long time, and actually they've been advertising on our show for, I don't know, for a few months now, or the past month or two. So I highly encourage going to those events. They're great. I've known Mark and Tamil a long time. But what about some habits that you're disciplined about that have produced the highest return for you?
I think showing up every day, like I said, right now, I've got my studio, I do my work here, but I try to give real estate a few hours a day, at least an hour, definitely more than that right now, because I'm trying to pivot more this year and be ready, be prepared for deals that are coming. But I just try to show up every day, keep a list of things I need to get done, and just continue to network.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Woo, I say my faith in God, strong family man, keeping the priorities in order, I've got teenagers, so staying committed to my family and God, family, and work. I guess those are my commitments.
Yeah, love that. What's the hardest song you've ever played on the guitar?
Oh, good question. Gosh, hardest song. Well, in college, I studied classical guitar, so there's a lot. That's a whole nother world. But on electric guitar, probably I played for a guy. Okay, so I played for Kenny Loggins for a while. I don't know if you know who he is. And so I was in Kenny Loggins' band for a while, and his music was very, 70s and 80s. And I was singing as well. So the singing and playing element with Kenny Loggins was highly structured music. So very well arranged.
That's interesting. I'll have to look him up. But
yeah.
That's awesome, Brent. How do you like to give back?
Oh gosh, my wife and our kids are in youth group. We love giving back to the youth, supporting them, showing up, being volunteers. So supporting our local church. It's pretty much where we spend our spare times. Supporting our kids and just being parents and caring for the youth.
That's awesome. Well, Brent, grateful to have you on the show. Grateful to meet you and just to hear about your success and pushing forward and how you're doing that. How can the listeners get in touch with you and learn more about you?
Yeah, thanks so much. All the socials, LinkedIn at Brent Barcus, Twitter at Brent Barcus, and Instagram at Brent Barcus. And then email would be great if interested in discussing deals or just how to get involved passively. Brent, my first name, at the letter I, 65capitalinvestments.com.
Thank you for being with us again today. I hope that you have learned a lot from the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you're telling your friends about the Real Estate Syndication Show and how they can also build wealth in real estate. You can also go to lifebridgecapital.com and start investing today.